Yes, everybody, welcome back to Talking Wolves. Welcome back to a brand new transfer video update. I hope you guys are keeping well and safe, and there has been some more news and rumours doing the rounds over the last week or so. As always, be sure to hit the like button, guys, if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And if you've got any thoughts on the rumours that we're going to be talking about today, do let me know in the comment section down below. And it's starting to heat up a little bit, obviously, as we come towards the end of the season. Contract situations are becoming a little bit more clear. And there's been a little bit more news in regards to the future of a few players. But we kick off with quite a big story coming from The Athletic at the start of this week. It was David Ornstein, who is a reporter at The Athletic, reporting about the future of both Joao Moutinho and Ruben Neves, and two players that may well be coming in to Molineux in the summer to replace them. So, of course, Joao Moutinho, his contract expires at Wolves at the end of the season. It said that talks are ongoing, but there's no decision made yet. Ruben Neves, although there are contract talks going on, he's still got 2 years left on his deal, but Wolves know that there's some big clubs around Europe interested in his signature. We discussed that last week a little bit. It said in this latest report that Barcelona, at the moment, seem to be one of the most likely destinations for Neves. Now, a lot of the comments, obviously, on this video and both on the tweet, rightly so, is that how can Barcelona afford Neves? Because, obviously, they don't want to be, if we believe the reports, they don't want to pay the money for Adama Traore. But trust me, Barcelona have got money. They're signing huge sponsorship deals, especially this summer from next year. They're going to be signing some, bringing in some huge amounts of money. So there will be one or two marquee signings, trust me. Ruben Neves is an interesting one, though, because Barcelona, I would say, are pretty well stacked in the central midfield area. So unless they were selling one or two of those players, then the Neves move for me to Barca doesn't really make sense. But that's not to say that there isn't interest in him from other clubs. I think Wolves will probably try their best to avoid selling to a Premier League club. But that's normally where the money is, to be honest. But obviously, Neves, the situation is currently unknown. Same with Joao Moutinho. But two players that Wolves have apparently targeted and are high up on the list for Wolves are two Sporting players, Matheus Nunes and Joao Palhinha. Now, Palhinha has been somebody that has been linked with Wolves for the last 2 years, really. He had a really decent season with Braga on loan from Sporting a couple of years ago. Actually played against Wolves for Braga in the Europa League. Had a really strong breakthrough season last year where Sporting really did well in the league. They dominated the Portuguese league and won the title. And then Matheus Nunes as well has started to come through a little bit more. Now, both players technically are but both players technically are probably not as strong as Ruben Neves and Joao Moutinho. Nunes is sort of more of a box-to-box type midfielder, probably a little bit more like the Renato Sanchez that we've all been craving for the last year or two. Palhinha is probably a little bit more of a defensive-minded midfielder, a little bit more of a number 6. But I don't know. I think If Moutinho goes, I would love to see one of these, most probably Nunes to partner Neves. But even Palhinha, just to allow Neves to have a bit more freedom possibly as well. But as it stands, it's not definitely going to be those two. If Neves and Moutinho leave, it's not definitely going to be those two. But those two players are high up on the targets for Wolves if anything were to happen to Neves and Joao Moutinho this summer. We reported a little bit on Goncalo Guedes last week. Now a pretty reputable source has jumped on it. Jornal de Noticias in Portugal, probably one of the most reputable outlets in Portugal. And it said that they very, very rarely comment on just transfer speculation. So for them to report about this means that there's probably some truth in it. But they reported once again about Goncalo Guedes. And it said that Wolves and Roma have both positioned themselves to sign him if the situation becomes clearer in the summer. Now, Valencia bought him from PSG for in and around 40 million euros some time ago. It was said last week by one source that Valencia were trying to recoup as much of that money as they could, so close to 40 million euros. However, Jornal de Noticias has now said that he could be now available for around 20 million euros. Valencia's financial situation is dreadful. They need to be cashing in. And Guedes has been very, very good this season. Now, a lot of people moaning once again because Guedes is probably, on paper, If you just know of the name, you probably know him as a winger. But this season for Valencia, he's played a lot more centrally, which I think for the long-term plan for Bruno Lage and Wolves, we don't want to be playing with a 5-3-2. We don't want to be playing with a 5-2-3. Long term for Wolves, we want to be playing a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-2-4 system. That's what Bruno Lage wants to go with. And Guedes is almost like a second striker or a proper inside forward, which we've missed since the departure of Diogo Jota. Could be very, very good. And for a Valencia side that haven't been phenomenal this season, his goal contributions have still been very, very solid. So I think for 20 million euros, in my opinion, that could be a steal. But like I said, it's not just Wolves that are in the mix. Jose Mourinho's Roma are also looking at Goncalo Guedes as well. So definitely want to keep our eye on. I know a lot of people have sort of ignored this one, mainly because it is one that crops up quite often. But I would definitely like to see what happens if Guedes... well, if we can get close to signing Goncalo Guedes. A couple of weeks ago, I reported on a guy called Pedrinho, a Brazilian midfielder that played for Shakhtar Donetsk. Now, of course, with this situation in Ukraine and Russia right now, FIFA have sort of amended the rules in for transfer windows and for certain clubs to sign players from Ukraine or Russia. Now, Pedrinho was somebody that had just played for Benfica a couple of years ago, and Bruno Lage, at the time, although he didn't manage him, Bruno Lage was one of the big reasons why Benfica went for Pedrinho. Now, it was said a few weeks ago that Wolves were one of the teams that wanted to sign the Brazilian attacking midfielder. There were also clubs in Brazil that were looking at signing him as well. And it sort of all went quiet after that, to be honest. Over the last week or so, there have been a couple of Premier League clubs that were blocked moves by the Premier League. So although FIFA had said that these players from Ukraine and Russia could join other teams, the Premier League and the FA have actually blocked the moves and said we're not amending our registration window for this. So I think there was a player, the Brazilian winger Tete. I think Southampton went to sign him and that fell through and he moved to a club in France. Victor Moses, of course, that a lot of you will be familiar with. Burnley were really close to signing him, and again the Premier League blocked this. And now with Pedrinho, apparently Wolves were in advanced talks to sign him until the Premier League blocked any potential move. So Wolves may well have looked to sign Pedrinho if the situation was different. Does that mean Wolves will go for him in the summer? Maybe, because Pedrinho will still have to move club from Shakhtar very, very soon. So more than likely he's going to go to Brazil. But don't be surprised if Wolves go back in for him in the summer if the situation changes, so or doesn't change. So Pedrinho, one that I'm making you aware of now, may well be talking about him once again in the next couple of months or so. I want to finish off on, not a huge signing for Wolves. It is a youth player by the name of Charlie MacArthur, currently playing for Kilmarnock, been in and around their first team system, only 16 years of age, and Wolves, Brighton and West Ham are all interested, according to the Scottish outlet Daily Record. It said that Brighton are set to table a bid for him, but obviously Wolves and West Ham are putting the pressure on as well, and he's available for around 275k. But guys, that is all for today's video. If you've got any thoughts on what we've said today, do let me know in the comment section down below. Neves and Moutinho future, who knows what's going to happen there? Will Matheus Nunes and Joao be their replacements? And Goncalo Guedes, that could be a big boost for Wolves if he comes in from the summer. I suppose the situation all depends on how Wolves finish. We're in a strong position right now, but can we creep into those European places and put us on such a good platform for players to join the club in the summer? Until then, guys, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and until next time, I'll see you all very, very soon.